everybody can see that this is an unusually, inappropriately, and I think dangerously political event. The Army birthday is one thing, but the fact that it coincides with his birthday is what's made it so divisive. And I think the real celebration of the Army is actually happening all across America today, because there's a group of people I want to call out and thank and give respect to. That's all of our law enforcement, all of our National Guard, even the active duty Marines, and the patriotic protesters nationwide who have been respectful, who have been disciplined, who have been patriotic. And I think that is an incredible display. We've seen so far no signs of violence. There's been tremendous restraint and respect at hundreds of protests around the country. And in my view, that's maybe the best birthday gift we could offer to the Army. And I say that as an Army vet myself.
Yeah, and Paul, when you look at sort of this parade, which, again, as we've taken pains to emphasize, is something a lot of people can get behind. You mentioned the National Guard. You mentioned the events of this week. How do you think this stacks up against what are also the concerns of some Americans, that it feels at times like a show of force or an effort to push militarization? The Marines are following orders in L.A. We just had reporting, and Jacob Soboroff out there showing them trying to responsibly do crowd control. We didn't see anything going, into a melee. But there are a lot of experts we've heard from who said that's not really the first, second, or third thing the Marines are usually supposed to do, patrolling crowds in L.A.
I understand those concerns. I share those concerns. I think this military parade is wrong for a number of reasons, but especially because it continues to insert our military in the politics of this country. Trump continues to make it seem like they're his military. The speech at Fort Bragg this week was disgusting and shameful and unprecedented. And even the deployment of the National Guard is an escalation that's unnecessary and an abuse of power. And the Marines in L.A. is the next step. And I think what we'll see tonight, so far so good in D.C., you'll probably see Trump give an overtly political speech at the end of it, which will contaminate the whole thing and continue to pull our troops into a place where America trusts them less, because he's manipulating them, because he's politicizing them, because he's abusing them. He's reducing their popularity. And that's really dangerous, because Americans don't respect them as much. Americans don't trust them as much. Americans fear them in some places. And that's understandable as they see this increased militarization that culminates with this. But it's also important, I think, to note, Ari, this is not the end. This is the playbook going forward. So this parade is probably the first of many. And this is part of Trump's larger plan to expand his grip on power and to leverage the military as an instrument of that power.
Paul, we're about to see this speech given by the president. Now, I think under normal circumstances, there's no such thing as normal circumstances anymore. We would anticipate something sort of high-minded and nonpartisan and sort of about the glory of the U.S. Army, which, as General McCaffrey said, ended slavery and defeated Nazism, the two highest accomplishments of this august body, the U.S. Army. But after what we saw at Fort Bragg, I think a lot of people are kind of on tenterhooks about this speech.
Understandably so. I think in America and around the world, I think this is one of the most important speeches Trump has ever done, because America is tense right now. America is nervous. America is unstable. And he can either make it worse or make it better. He has an opportunity to bring the temperature down, and that is his responsibility as commander-in-chief in order to ensure he helps the national security of our country. Because right now what we're seeing on our screen has our enemies celebrating, has Vladimir Putin celebrating. But I also think there's an important point here. This is what it could look like if the National Guard and Marines were never there. The LAPD, this is tense, but the LAPD have this under control. They have it relatively contained, and the National Guard don't need to be there. The Marines don't need to be there, and by their very presence, it creates a higher level of risk and tension and danger for everybody.
Yeah, that's a great point, Paul. This point about tensions, I got, honestly, today, it's been such a tense week, I think, because of what we've seen, and the stories we've seen of folks being taken from workplaces and taken from parking lots and in the fields, in strawberry fields, which has been sort of exacerbating some of this. And then this manhunt for this just brutal and kind of inscrutable at this point, a political assassination, though we do have reporting that it was the list of targets and were people that were advocates of abortion rights and pro-choice. When you talk about bringing the temperature down, I think we know the record here. What do you want to hear from other leaders other than Trump about this moment?
the right thing, what we would normally hear from American leaders in a moment like this. De-escalate the situation. Bring the temperature down.
Condemn political violence.
Bring people together. Bring different types of people together. I said, earlier this week, in normal times, Kristi Noem would have sat down with Senator Padilla immediately afterward.
Yeah.
And
they did have a meeting for 15 minutes, I should note.
Right. But public meeting afterward, come together, show people that they're moving forward, that they're bringing down the temperature. And I think here in Los Angeles and across the country, we actually see Americans doing that.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's stepping up, from the protesters who are patriotic to the National Guard soldiers who are patriotic. They're showing tremendous discipline, tremendous restraint, tremendous patriotism by bringing down the temperature in their local communities in whatever way they can. That's the silver lining of this moment, where we all as Americans have to rise to the moment.